Welcome to another phenomenal new listing home for sale that the Radcliffe Group has listed here in Brentwood. This home was going to take your breath away at 133 North Carmelina, AKA known as Villa Carmelina. This home was built in 1927, a true, authentic, original Spanish. One time the Los Angeles Times referred to this as the prettiest Spanish home in LA. And when I take you through it, you're gonna know why. As you can even just see behind me, the beauty that this home captions, this large 11,400 plus square foot lot, and the authentic details throughout. It's like mind-boggling. It's like you're in an old theater. It's so dramatic and so amazing. Even behind me, as you see, this little outdoor eating area, this pass-through. Where again, we're going to take another look at that from the other side, but there's so many little vignettes, little areas in this house that are just beyond charming. So for those that truly appreciate kind of like a classic car and a beautiful old painting, this is a classic, authentic home, almost 100 years old, in phenomenal condition. So follow me in. Notice also this yard space in the front. There's beautiful yard space, pool in the back. Got not only a two-car garage, big motor court, a future ADU can be built here as well, and that was checked with zoning if needed. And you've also got this really large frontage, which gives this sort of obvious estate feel. One thing, John, too, just to swing back and look at our gate. So here's our pull-in. Even just like the details on the gate itself. You know, the old Spanish tile, or the Malibu tile at the top. The details of, like again, your brick inlay motor court versus just poured stamped concrete. And then all around this house, you've got 30-foot ficus, 30-plus foot ficus, creating just total privacy. This entire property is completely private. The tile work even around the front door as we walk in through the house, it's phenomenal. Once again, those little vignette areas, nice little sitting area out in the front. Look at all the details. This Adobe style construction. The beautiful landscaping. I mean, I'm truly going to go on and on about how amazing this house is. Let me just make sure the homeowner's not here. Hello. Oh,
Robert.
Our homeowner is here.
Yeah.
This is Eddie.
Hi.
Eddie, sorry to disturb you.
Put this
By
away.
the
No,
way,
no, not at
I've
all.
got like millions of people right here on a camera watching. Do you mind if this guy knows?
Sure,
his
come on
home?
in. Yeah, come on, of course.
Come on in. So this would be actually an amazing time to take advantage of your knowledge of this home. I was out in front talking about all the details and how amazing this house is. But this man has truly lived here and loved it and knows all the details. And if you don't mind, I would love for you to take us through and point out some of these details of the house that make this home such a unique and special property.
You know, thank you. You know, what really struck me about this, Robert, was it takes me back to the first moment that when I was looking for a home, what kind of blew me away, of course, just walking in through the door and staying about where you're standing is where you have the dining room off to one side, and really getting a look at this living room. And being involved in design, you very rarely see new construction that has anything like this, where it gives you the sense of Adobe. All the walls, all the windows, the beams, everything is so beefy and thick. It has this sense of security.
Yep.
When you walk in, you feel like you're in this, real villa, a true villa, and so I feel like the design and the architect, and when I look at the beams, you can't even replace those things today. They're so fantastically solid. New homes don't do that. And corbels, loving architecture. I love architecture. I just feel that this is a room that, yes, it's just big enough to be spectacular, but also very intimate at
Well
the same
said.
time.
Exactly.
You know, the whole house is kind of like that. It's a series of moments.
Yep.
Every room is like a different moment. So as we designed it, we tried to do that. It was built in 1927, about the height of the silent era here in Hollywood. And being, near Sunset Boulevard, it just, brought Norma Desmond and the whole film world there. So we decorated and tried to, put art and so forth in the house that captured what was going on in Hollywood at that time. It's truly a capsule of that.
No question. Truly a I'm going to shut this behind us. And even this door, I love this.
Yeah, the peekaboo door.
This house actually, it does feel like you're transported to a different era. Like literally just walking into the front of the property, but now that you're in, I mean, John, get the details of the ceiling, light fixtures, the stencil work done. I mean, my wife's going to be here later today, and she's loves the vintage era.
She's coming. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
She's actually a pinup model. She's going to flip for this house.
Wow.
This is like a dream house.
Well, when you see the beams and all of this, this is a time when Spanish design wasn't just a category. It was romantic. So this is what I would call Hollywood Spanish, because it has the romanticism to it. And like, for example, the newel post isn't a post. It's like the sword of a conquistador or Zorro. Yes. It has that Errol Flynn style feeling to it. That, a little bit of swashbuckling going on, combined with Norma Desmond of the silent era. But all of those things, that's what resonated with me, down to getting a little wacky, a little crazy. Even the light bulbs, those are light bulbs that I bought new in the box that had never been opened since 1920, and they've burned here in the house for 20 years. And literally those carbon filaments are from 1920. They're not reproduction.
That's crazy.
So you kind of want to keep the light on for the past.
Yep.
But we're not locked into it. I mean, the house is something we've raised a family in. The kids have played this piano and learned the piano here. It's a social environment, with the fireplaces. But all these spaces, they all add drama to the other space.
Yes.
The red room is a moment where we dine, and it always looks back at the fireplace.
These little vignette areas, little sitting areas that I love. And I love what you said earlier. A room that's large enough to be, spectacular, but yet perfect in size, scale, to also be intimate.
Yeah, well, I think there's a humility about older homes. Older homes have a sense of not being ostentatious, and they're not self-conscious. They're just there for the purpose of what they were designed for. For example, all the French doors and windows throughout the house, all the windows, designed to bring a cross breeze through. You're not relying on the air conditioning in here or anything like that. You open up the windows and doors and you just have the garden always just at your fingertips or just inside. So, matter of fact, the hardware, all these details were things we restored and brought back. We had one original lock set. And I didn't want people to be touching Home Depot when they walk into this house. When they touch the lock sets, we reproduced in bronze all the hardware of the house.
Wow, amazing.
I mean, right down to some movie artifacts that have been put into the house as well. But definitely, everything here should reward your close inspection. When you get closer to something, it's a 100-year-old house. Is it loose fitting in some ways? Yes, of course. It's the time is a patina. But at the same time, you go, wow, all the iron here is not machine made. It's all hand forged. Hand forged is when people made it. Right. Right. It wasn't done by a CNC computer lathe. So all of it reposé. I tried to celebrate a lot of the lost arts of this time.
Yep.
With the metalwork, the woodwork, keeping, not trying to be trendy, just keeping the hand-hewn floors. But with white walls, you can hang any art you want in here, and it embraces it. The house is a perfect palette for whatever you want to do. But yet, when you look closer, yes, you see this European or French Riviera in it, or you'll see the detail of the tile.
Yep.
There's even the thresholds. If you're going to open a door, there's something there to look at. You don't feel
And now
like...
I mentioned before, like even the inset of the French doors and the windows and the depth. You see the thickness of the walls, the setback. I mean, that fireplace mantle. I mean, there's so many things that your eye just notices and appreciates. It's like eye candy.
Well, and we had some famous people that lived here, you know, from the producer that really greenlit and developed Star Trek, all the way back to diplomats that lived here in the 1930s. I've done a lot of research just for fun and found pictures of those very same people here who invited, you know, Louis B. Mayer here for their wedding anniversary. This was a very, very great party house, entertainment house of that time. So I don't want to take everything out of here. I want to make it habitable, and we hide the beautiful lighting to light the art. But at the same time, you want to honor it. You want to let the house talk back and be that sort of supporting element to so many good times, you know, that people have had here.
I think you even mentioned, what was it, Mission Impossible, right?
Oh, yeah. So Mr. Solo, who was an MGM executive, ran the studio. Desi Liu, prior to that, greenlit Star Trek and produced it. So Gene Roddenberry would come here for meetings, or we would have the cast of Mission Impossible, the original show. The pool out back was first used for the Emmy party when they swept the Emmys or something in '67 or something. He had big parties here. Musicians would come here. Writers. We see Mr. Solo, I made contact with him and I said, tell me stories. I want to know who came and what happened. He says, oh, it was a creative place. We were always having creative meetings. Writers, producers would come here for dinners and stuff. So I feel like that that's my business too. I like to know that, you know, it's a good place for ideas to happen, and I think it's an inspirational environment.
Truly defines old Hollywood.
Oh, I think so, because I think, you know, what today, Hollywood legacy happened here.
Yep,
Very much happened around the table here.
Well, I want to take the camera into this room as well, dining room, as Eddie was pointing out. I mean, this, again, is so amazing, romantic, like theatrical and dramatic, and looking from where I'm standing, I'll have you, John, here in a moment. Just looking back, I imagine dining here, you've got the fireplace off in the other room, looking through these just gorgeous archways and the layer of archways.
Sure.
And then you've got these beautiful French doors too, that I can just imagine open on a summer breeze night, a summer night, and just how...
And that's to be completed, because we've always wanted to put a beautiful fountain out there and just have the trickling of water and get the sounds of water into it too. There's so many things that this is a canvas to do. And you know, one of the greatest moments here, we're just here in the daytime, I can't tell you what a candlelit night is. We'll turn the lights out and just light, because we have so many candelabras here in the house, and just light it with candlelight. And turn the music on and just have cocktails or something, or just relax. And you open the doors and let the smell of jasmine come in, and it's truly wonderful. But again, you know, using color and using the beams. I mean, the beams are even more powerful in an intimate space like this. And the Fortuny lamp puts out this soft, indirect lighting. Everyone looks gorgeous at dinner. Yeah, well, looking gorgeous? Well, maybe I'll have to get 2 more lamps. No, I'm just kidding. No, we have to. The Fortuny lamp always does a lot and just adds that soft lighting. We try to do indirect lighting in the house. Yeah. Again, let the house do the talking. Let the space do the talking, and it's a perfect room for that. You know, just for I get quite a few people in. You can even put a bigger dinner table in. Yeah, you can. But yeah, we've had wonderful dinner parties in here.
Love it.
And you always see that fireplace.
Yeah, this path through, I mean, it passed through is just spectacular. All right, well, let's take our viewer camera over here. As Eddie was pointing out, this really attractive looking iron rail, tile work going upstairs, which we'll go to in a moment.
You know, this tile work is an interesting detail, Robert. This tile we added this tile to the house. And this tile was custom made because it was the same tile used in the Adamson House of Malibu, which was the founder of the Malibu Tile Company. So those tile styles that you'll see in the house all have a provenance to the California-made Malibu tile. Even the pavers, these are not pavers you buy in the store. They're all thicker, and they were custom made to match all the pavers in the house that were done by the architect. So all these little things, I guess what I'm trying to say is that everything matters.
Yes.
And when you come in the house and you
details matter.
Yeah, and you may not even know it, but you sort of sense that it's you're not going to find catalogs things didn't come out of catalogs here. They were made
Nothing
for
out
the
of Pottery
house.
Barn.
No,
Not knocking Pottery Barn, but nothing.
I love Pottery Barn,
Yeah.
but not here, not now.
Right.
Yeah.
So another small little area here is this powder room I want you to point out.
Right. All the tile in here is original to the house. The sink is a very rare color. It's this beautiful kind of purple maroon. And so everything in here has been put back the way it was. And even we found new old stock wall covering from the 1940s. It's called the Bamboo Room, which is dedicated to the Brown Derby's cocktail bar.
Awesome.
So we
I
put
loved
photographs
every
of
story.
all the celebrities from the Brown Derby of that time in here, so you can have a little moment to yourself and see if you can figure out who was who.
Yeah, how
kind of an interactive old Hollywood
Right.
time, but there's a lot you can do with it.
And this is the room that you and I sat at when we talked about the process of getting your home sold.
Yeah, sure,
And I remember
sure.
sitting here and just taking in like even the backdrop behind you, that wall, which I know has a little bit of a story too as far as how it was picked out. And
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, again, finishes can communicate sophistication, but also being casual. And this was a ceiling that came out of a Connecticut retail store or something of an old ceiling, but it has the most beautiful morning yellow with this powder blue. You're not going to find this, in the Ralph Lauren chip store. It's only time can bring you things like this.
Yes.
And when the light reflects off of it, and you're in this kind of south of France feeling, we're
Yeah.
kind of taking you out of the Hollywood and now heading to the French Riviera, you get that sense of just being in this little environment. And again, we never lose sight of being in the gardens or being in the
That's what I also
morning.
love, pardon me for interrupting, about your home, is that every window that you look out of, it's eye candy. It's so pretty.
I kind of think so. I mean,
Oh, I
yeah.
know so.
And I'll remember, it's also smells.
Yep.
Is that we have jasmine planted out there, and so when the breeze comes in, you might get a smell of jasmine. We always try to play to the senses. It's very experiential, But again, we wanted to make it casual and comfortable.
And speaking of like even just small windows or small details, the kitchen, which again, you're doing your dishes and not a big part of life, but you do it a lot.
Right.
And just to be able to look out a pretty window, you've got the fountain, you've got the natural light, and you're referring to this as like the perfect chef kitchen because everything is kind of where it needs to be for, quick reach access.
True. It's interesting. Island kitchens are fabulous, but they've almost become sort of a stereotype in the sense that they're there and they're great, but you don't always have the functionality because there's something standing in your way.
Right.
And so my wife, who has been trained, in cuisine, loves the idea, kind of like in the internet. You don't want to be 5 clicks away from what you're doing.
Right.
Everything is within reach. So to be able to do many, many things well when you're trying to do recipes in a timely manner, she loves this kitchen because it's so efficient.
Right. How
It's
many years
actually-
again have you lived here?
24.
So this home has not been available for anyone else the last 24 years,
No.
making it, in my opinion, also a special opportunity. A quarter of a century, no one has had the opportunity to be able to own something like this.
Well, I think it's also given us a good opportunity to live in something and figure it out and dial it in for what it's good at. So when you're looking at somebody who's lived here this long, it's, we even know when the doorbell's going off. No. So when you live here this long, you end up dialing it in and making it something that works for a family.
Right.
And this isn't just a couple. This is a family home where it's been used by a lot of people.
Yep. That's
And
awesome.
so we have 2 fridges, one in the pantry, one in here. We have a backup. So, there's a pantry directly, underneath this footprint. So all of this stuff is a perfect service kitchen.
I love it. Let's go off to another room that I know our viewer is going to love and appreciate.
It's sort of been the favorite room for everybody.
Yeah, this one. This family room bar area, once again, it's like it transports you to another era, which I'm going to have Eddie talk a little bit about the bar in just a moment. But again, I just want to also pick up the space that's here. This fireplace, which is incredible, and its mantle. But this is such an incredible, lovely room, not only for comfortability, great size for entertaining or just kind of kicking back with just the family. You've got a powder room off of here. But looking back at these views of your yard with your lagoon pool, I mean, it is breathtaking. and the privacy of the canopy of the tropical landscaping, which was by no accident created that way by Eddie and Dina, to give you this feeling of safety, privacy, and this is like your own little world. But onto the bar, because I love
Pull up
the
a
story of the
chair,
bar.
Robert. Sit at the bar with us.
Tell us a little bit about this bar and the concept of its height, background with with what you've chosen.
Sure. Well, you know, the previous owner, Mr. Solo, had acquired many artifacts, and I talked to him on the phone years and years ago, trying to dig down and figure out where everything came from. And some of these things came from MGM Studios. I wanted to honor that, and I couldn't get the exact provenance of exactly what set or where in the auction it came from. Some of the artifacts even came from mansions on Bunker Hill of Los Angeles that he had picked up. So this bar really was inspired by a restaurant in Paris called Café Marly, which is at the Louvre, where the entire interior is done in these blacks with the 19th century pinstriping. So we wanted this to not look like Victorian or anything like that. We wanted it to feel like a bistro, a place that, you know, yes, you could have a cocktail here, but you could also have espressos, cappuccino. It's very flexible. So if you have kids, they don't feel like they're at a bar. So all the alcohol is down below decks and easily accessible, but yet it's more aquatic. This is Fornasetti wallpaper that has, each fish has a sort of human expression. So the more drinks you have, you kind of go, am I drinking like a fish or are they drinking like a human? I don't know. So you kind of look at that and you get a sense of it. But the beautiful marble and all this stuff was added and scenically painted, and all the moldings came from 20th Century Fox. Some of the parts came from Universal, but mostly it's from Fox. And I have all the catalogs for customizing it and doing all that. But again, this is very much of a French Riviera kind of feeling, European feel. Used to be a 3-car garage back in the 1920s.
That's crazy.
The previous owner turned it into a wonderful family room. It's air conditioned and everything. But the big hero is what you just said. It's sitting here, and no one, when we have guests, you'd think people would want to be out by the pool, by the fire pit. It is so hard to get people away from this. Whether they're having coffee or breakfast in here. It's like the social magnet. People don't want to leave this bar. They just love it. And yeah, eventually we can we turn the barbecue on and get people out there.
Outdoors.
Food is what does it, Robert. People go out to eat, but yeah, you get the barbecue and everything else. So
speaking of outdoors, so we're going to take a walk through here. But this lagoon pool, which was designed in
1963 by Burgess, who is the leading LA lagoon pool, contractor at the time, and the owner of this house at the time worked with Lucille Ball. And she had got and I don't know if this is the exact reason, but her pool looks just like this, and he was working for Lucille, doing all the television shows at Desilu. And so if you look at video of Lucy and Desi in their pool in Beverly Hills, it's almost identical to this.
That's awesome.
But it's this Burgess Lagoon pool. So we really wanted an urban retreat, a place that you didn't feel like you were in LA. You come home from work, you're not going to bring the city with you or traffic with you. So we layered, like on a backlot of a studio, we layered all the landscaping in a way that you really feel immersed in this world. And of course you could turn the music on and so forth, and background sounds. And my wife loves gardening, and so we've got a lot of flora and fauna going on around here too.
With that said, as I'm listening to you and looking at you, I'm also captivated with what's behind you. The house itself, and as you mentioned, just the
What's
flora,
in layers.
the flowers, the landscaping around it, the beauty that surrounds this home is unlike really many others that you ever see. And it's all, you can tell, purposely chosen as far as, you know, the flowers and the colors and how everything just kind of pops just enough with kind of a subtle light to it. It's really
I like
elegant.
to think of it as specifically random. In other words, the difference between a French garden and everything being very regimented, and all the little lollipop trees and the l'orangerie and all that. This is a little bit more like an English garden or a Spanish garden if you research Spanish gardens. So what Dina had done is that you've just got this casual narrative to all the plant material. You walk in and there's roses that are surprises. Every little area is a surprise pocket. If you're having an outdoor party, we find people in all these little nooks and crannies having a little drink, having a conversation. If you go up through here, it's an adventure in itself. just walking through the flowers. It's like a little moment. And you'll
Yep.
see that the little rose petals are falling, and you're sitting there at a place having your coffee in the morning. And again, there's a view corridor here. But all these views are kind of planned, not meant to look that way, but they're planned.
I was mentioning that when we started this recording, this video, at the front as well, that little charming sitting area at the front off the dining room. But as we pass through here, and the depth of this yard, looking back about the beauty of it, and then flipping around, which is such a nice area. I love this. You got your fire pit, just kind of chilling. This is like so beautiful, Eddie. This is such a great place to be sitting and enjoying.
This is called the iPad zone. You come out with your iPad and the Wi-Fi, you put on your headset, and you do business calls like I would do. I would take my business calls right there with the iPad. I mean, you talk about, people think of their home office like they have to be in a little box with a screen and all
Yeah.
this. Well, my
Not here.
goodness, it's so quiet and so nice. You could just sit in any of these locations and do your calls. And I found that this has been, for this last year, our escape, our perfect haven.
Right.
Because there's so many flavors. There's
Yep.
so many ways to do
and
it.
so many places to sit
Yeah.
and enjoy. So not only this area here of sitting, enjoying maybe outdoor office space, but look at this outdoor area, which I showed at the very beginning. What a lovely place to come out for a breakfast croissant, cup of coffee, outdoor dining, barbecue area. One thing also that's kind of cool is there's a pass-through from this room into the living room.
You would not believe how useful that is, because people come in the living room, they're kind of like, well, what do we do? Meanwhile, dinner is being set up. So you open that door and you just march right out, and all the candles are on, the music's playing, the table is set, and people have a great dinner. And your views out that way are completely secluded too. You get the palm
Beautiful
trees
here,
and
beautiful
that.
here,
Yeah.
beautiful here. I mean, it's literally 360 degrees of beauty.
Right.
Speaking of more beauty, follow us.
You better not introduce me as the Beast.
One other really super charming area, or should I say areas, we've got out here. This vegetable garden, this, what Eddie will point out, not only your vegetable garden here, and look how pretty, once again, look how private this is. Surrounded by the 30+ feet of hedge, landscaping. I mean, it's like, this is like out of a magazine, out of a movie set.
You know
But
what's
speaking
even
of- go
really
ahead.
magical about it too, is if you're into gardening and you want that kind of immersion or solace of just being on your own, and I just want to be with my plant. This is my wife's potting garden, where she does tomatoes and all kinds of things. So this is literally an experience or a hobby for the last 20 years of just going, you know what? I don't want any more phone calls. I'm just going to go out and be with
Nature.
the vegetables. Well, yeah, because she grows all the things we eat too. We have all kinds of wonderful, Italian vegetables and things. But we also home tutored our kids, and they needed a place to perform and to have gatherings. And so this is the Theater of the Flowers.
Look how
This
cool
was
this
built
is.
for that, right? So I think if you're having parties, you could put a performer up here and have somebody playing a guitar and do a really cool thing.
The performance.
Well,
the
that little pole there used to have
curtains?
drapes on it for the theater, and kids would do their own shows. I mean, or if you have a child that needs supervision or something, this is fenced, so a smaller child can
Oh,
play.
that's a good point too.
Oh, no.
That's a great point. Look at that. It's completely safe and sealed off.
Right. We had birds back here for a while. We had ducks. We had all kinds of things when the kids were doing their, school things
Yep.
that were absolutely brilliant. But if you didn't have kids, it's a perfect place to entertain.
Once again, I'm listening.
Or
and
put a
looking at you,
jacuzzi back here too.
but looking behind you and just the depth, the size of this yard, this little, what would be like a little space. It's not that little. This is actually a really good piece of real estate back over here. And then noticing, of course, this little sitting area here.
This
as
is
well.
called, this is the mimosa zone. This is, literally, this is when you have like Sunday morning breakfast and You have a bottle of champagne and you do a little mimosas out there with a nice eggs and things, and the family just sits and
Shaded.
Well, yeah.
You're not getting the sunlight beating on your face. What a wonderful,
And
charming
this tree
place.
over the years has been the twinkle light tree, and we did all the twinkle lights in here one year and just had the most beautiful, I mean, just this was the summer night place to sit.
Yep.
We wanted a different flavor from the other table, and we would do things here, or for parties people would come and hang out. Again, a lot of moments, little moments that are different
Little
from
vignettes,
each other.
little sitting areas
Yeah.
throughout. I mean, that's again like, we see a lot of today, and there's nothing wrong with those, the big modern style open spaces, and those are
That's
cool
great.
too. Yeah. This is almost the opposite. All little spaces here that are also captivating, breathtaking on their own, and special on their own. That makes this home truly special.
Well, to me, I think a lot of the beautiful modern spaces you mentioned are also duplicated in hotels and restaurants.
Mm-hmm.
So when I come home, I want a place that has soul.
Yes.
I want to feel soul.
Yep.
And I think that is a lot of what the house has, is this very casual, the voice of the house is casual and relaxed.
Yep.
It's
Well
not
said.
buttoned down. It's
Well
you take your
said.
shoes off and relax, and you're just back in time.
So Eddie, once again, well said. Because you've lived here, you've loved this home as much as you have for these years. It was just so perfect that you were here for today to kind of do this video with me, because I really wanted you to be able, better than I could, present really what someone will be buying and owning and enjoying for probably the number of years or more that you and your family have enjoyed this house. So thank you for being here.
Sure. Well, great stories are meant to be passed on. You want to hand it. You don't want to hand it off. So thank you,
And
Robert.
you did a
Thanks
great
for doing
job.
that.
Thanks,
sure.
Eddie.
Sure. Anytime.
Yep, I'll follow you out. I'm sure you'll agree, us having Eddie join us for this tour was, it was so beneficial to hear all these details. But let's go up and take a look at the rest of the house upstairs. So I'm first going to take you down to the master suite. Up. We've got some closet here, big closet here. Master size suite, which is really big, especially for a year of 1927 when this home was built. You've got your gas starting wood burning fireplace here. Notice obviously once again your details of an old adobe Spanish along with its archways. As I mentioned earlier, just these picturesque windows everywhere that you look. Following me back to get the orientation. We have two more bedrooms down here, which we're going to see in a moment. Let's step into one of these guest bedrooms here. Or in this case, daughter's room, kid's room. See about turning on a light. Good sized room, little bay window. Once again, just these beautiful windows to look out of. Here we have a Jack and Jill bathroom. Notice all the original sink, toilet, obviously vintage. So this bedroom and that bathroom and that bedroom are shared. I'm going to close this for a moment because this leads to an additional bedroom. But in itself, the way that this is contained, you've got bedroom that we're here, with a Jack and Jill sharing that bathroom. We've got another bedroom here. So this bedroom, really good size, is an en-suite bedroom with its own bathroom. And notice all the natural light throughout. So there's 4 bedrooms up here. The 5th one has access from a back staircase, but the homeowners, for their lifestyle, chose to not use this as a bedroom. This is used more of like a sitting room, and then they wanted to have this pass-through. So if this was going to be used as a bedroom, obviously this is sealed off, and then you have your access point there, Jack and Jill bathroom. following me through, this would be, again, if that bedroom was being used, if that room was being used as its bedroom, fourth bedroom, this would be the access, the sole access from downstairs, which is off the kitchen, to this room, which again is perfect for Eddie in an at-home office. Look how big this room is. Really good size. Once again, these picturesque windows. You're looking down at your pool, your fire pit, or as Eddie was talking about, your at-home outside office underneath the canopy. This room also has its own private bathroom. And then why don't you follow me down again? This would be the staircase and the access point to that bedroom by itself, in which we have not seen laundry room, pantry area, which you can see is really large with second fridge. So there you have it. 133 North Carmelina, otherwise known as Villa Carmelina. As you can tell, this is truly a special, special home. If you have any interest in taking a look, please give us a call directly or have your agent give us a call at 310-317-9900. And this is Robert Radcliffe with the Radcliffe Group at Compass. Thank you very much for taking the tour with us. I hope you appreciate the home. And if maybe you know someone that would be interested in it, send this link off to them. We hope to hear from you. Thanks so much.